Welcome, historians. Passing history begins with knowing what to read for when confronted with an exam. Well, exam periods are very tense periods and requires fast thinking and targeted reading. Now, hence, it is important to note the two divisions of history and government. For instance, Kcse history is divided into two papers. We have paper 1 and paper 2. Now, history paper 1 consists of anything and everything touching on Kenya. Anything that talks about Kenya is a paper 1 concept. So when you are revising for paper 1, ensure that anything that you are touching there touches on Kenya. Now, for instance, the following topics are tested in paper 1. In form 1, we have Introduction to History and Government. Early human, the people of Kenya up to 19th century. That will talk about the migration and settlements of the Bantu communities. Social, political, and economic organization of Kenya. That we're talking about how were the Bantus organized, how were the Kushites organized socially, were they polygamous or monogamous, and so on. Even their economic activities, what did they do to bring food on their table? Then from that topic, we go to contact between the people of East Africa and the outside world. That's where you talk about the coming of the Arabs, the Portuguese, the plantation farming, the Indian Ocean trade, and so on. Then from there, you go talk about the citizenship, ways of becoming a Kenyan citizen, and finally, to wrap us up, is national integration, and this wraps as Form 1 syllabus. In Form 2, topics such as urbanization, which touches on Nairobi, and constitution and constitution making process. That is how our constitution made, the types of constitution that we have in the world, and so on. And finally, democracy and human rights wraps us off Form 2 syllabus. In Form 3, we have things like establishment of colonial rule in Kenya, reasons that attracted the Europeans to come to Kenya and establish their colonialism. Then we have colonial administration, the structures, the functions, from the colonial secretary to the governor to the provisional officers and so on. That is the structures that they had established in Kenya. Then from there, we have this topic, which is political development and struggle for independence in Kenya. Like, why did Africans in Kenya chose to struggle for their independence, and what methods the political parties they formed while struggling for their independence. Then we're talking about the lives and contribution of Kenyan leaders. We talk about Jomo Kenyatta, Ronald Ngala. We have people like Wangari Maathai. Those people played several roles in making Kenya great or free from colonialism. Then finally, we're talking about the structure, formation, and function of Kenyan government. And we realize that Kenya has three main arms, that is the executive, legislature, and judiciary. And each of those arms is independent and has its own structure and functions. Then in Form 4 syllabus, we have national philosophies, social, economic, and political challenges that faced Kenya since independence, devolved governments, public revenue and expenditure, which wraps as of paper 1 concept. Now, going to paper 2 concepts, we have Introduction to History and Government. We have early man development of agriculture, which is Form 1 content. Then in Form 2 content, we have trade, development of transport and communication. We have development of industry and process of industrialization. We have urbanization, How are people attracted to urban areas? Then social, economic, and political organization of African societies in the 19th century. Now, this organization will talk about the Shona, Buganda Kingdom, and the Asante Kingdom. Then again, which is from two continents. Then the European invasion of Africa and process of colonization that starts as from three continents, colonial administration, and rise of African nationalism, which is from three continents. Then in Form 4 content, we have world wars. Those are wars that were fought by European countries in a quest for their supremacy. International relations, cooperation in Africa, social, economic, and political development, and challenges in Africa since independence, electoral processes and functions of government in other parts of the world, which absence of the Form 4 syllabus paper 2 content. Now, as you may realize, the weight of paper 1 rests on Form 1 and 3 content, while that of paper 2 rests on Form 2 and Form 4 content. It is very necessary to prepare adequately. I wish you all the best. Until next time, it's a goodbye from me.